Hey there, haven't done a video in a while. Things have been busy as all get out. I was on a panel at a Bitcoin rodeo event. We're talking about whether or not cryptocurrencies would have a place in an independent Alberta or a role in that. I emceed a Christine Anderson event that same morning. And then yesterday was Albertans Day. I spoke at that. That was up at Chris Scott's place in Mirror, Alberta, is his restaurant there. He's the fellow who got arrested for serving food to people during COVID. I tell you, that was a fantastic event. It was brilliant. You're going to see lots of videos. Max did stuff out there. He produces a lot of great videos, lots of speakers, vending market. It was one of the best independence-minded events I've ever been to, and great spirited people. Just helps build up the confidence and realization we're going to get this done. We're moving in the right direction. Lots of motivated people, the same faces we see at a lot of these, and then what's even better is a whole lot of new faces. This movement is taking off. There's meetings happening everywhere, rallies happening everywhere. People are preparing, and we're seeing the momentum in that. Opponents are now ramping up their efforts. Thomas Lukaszuk, former Allison Redford MLA, far left guy. He should have been with the NDP to begin with, but he's desperately seeking relevance since it's leaving the legislature some years ago. Has been basically gaming the referendum system, and you know what? Well, he exposed holes in how the system works. Now people are getting worried because they're saying, "Oh my God, is it true? Is it true? Is the referendum going to be canceled? Has it been stopped? Has Fabio stopped this thing?" No, he hasn't. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. The worst he might have done is caused a bit of delay, and we'll see. What he has done is expose some of the ambiguity, though, in the legislation on how this is going to work, and I guess we got to learn some of that anyways. For one, so he has put in an application. We knew about that a while ago, and now it's been accepted to start petitioning to ask the question, do you agree that Alberta should stay within Canada? Now, the legislation says you can't have two petitions going for the same question at the same time. Basically, it's just saying the same thing, though the other way around. If we're looking for a full independence referendum, we'd be saying, we want to, well, we've seen that with the Alberta Prosperity Project. Do you want to leave Canada? You'd be going on a yes vote. We would want a no vote. But the bottom line is it's the same question. Now, he filed it prior to when the new legislation comes into effect. So from what I can gather, and I've been hearing different things from different sources, he's definitely not qualified. His question, he can't do the 177,000 signatures in 120 days, like Bill 54 allows for, which comes into force this Friday. His is under the old legislation. That's what he did when he jumped the gun to get in early to, get those darned independence people and beat them to the, fire off the gun before they can. So he needs, and I've heard two versions. I'm not sure. I've asked Keith Wilson maybe to give me some input. I haven't heard from him yet. 300,000 or 600,000 signatures he might need. So folks, we got to remember, and I've talked about this on here, there's loud voices on social media. Oh, look at that. He'll get that easily. People don't know what real petitioning is. They really don't. Let's say it's 300,000. Well, he'll need 100,000 signatures a month from registered voters in Alberta. Good luck. The logistics of that, when you don't have an organization, when you haven't been preparing, when you're asking people to vote on something that doesn't mean anything, he's not going to get it done, guys. But it might delay things because they might have to. I'm not sure now if Elections Alberta is going to make the Alberta Prosperity Project wait until he fails in 4 months, really, because he's got to the end of July to get his CFO. Have they got to wait until he fails before they can apply now to start petitioning? That's a flaw in the system, because then people can always block and delay other referendums, even if they have no intention of participating in it, right? Like, oh, this guy's going to hold a referendum on Alberta pension plan. Well, what I'll do is I'll file a question a week before him, and then I just won't do anything about it. And then it's just tied up for 3 or 4 months. Well, that's, for one, it's an abuse of the system. And for another, that's just not reasonable. So I think there's going to have to be some tweaking with this new law and how this is going to work. I understand the rationale. We don't want 10 petitions with 10 questions going around. But people don't know what they're signing. Is it this one? Is it that one? The thing is with his, again, whatever, it's up to Elections Alberta. I don't think it should have been accepted. Because if we're going to use referenda, the question has to be asking to change something. You see, no matter which way you vote, if there was a vote on Lukaszuk's question, nothing changes. He's asking people, do you want to stay just this way things are right now? Well, that's stupid. And if you vote no, I don't want to, well, still nothing changes. So it's a vote for nothing. It's a poll. You want to do a poll, save your money, hire a pollster, and go out and do it. Use a referendum for that. And hey, some people have a valid case. The legislation isn't clear enough on whether or not these are binding as well. So in a sense, they could be just polls if the government doesn't act on them. I'll get back to that. I've talked about that before. Look, if 60% of Alberta votes on a clear question to leave, it doesn't matter if the legislation says binding or not. I promise you, the government's going to get behind it, if only for their own interest, because it would be pure political suicide not to at that point. Most of our focus now has to just make sure we keep the government on the right track, get the referendum, get the question. So Thomas Lukaszuk has tried to throw some sand in the gears. And I think it's going to be clarified in the next week or so. The new legislation comes into play. It sounds like Alberta Prosperity Project is going to be right there to apply right away under the new legislation. Whether it takes 3 more months, to be honest, if that happens, it takes 3-4 more months before we can start petitioning. Frustrating as it might feel, it might not be bad because it helps get things better organized anyways. As a lot of people are realizing, there's still a heck of a lot of questions to answer, a lot more organization to get together, and building that base to win that yes vote. So if the real petitioning maybe doesn't start until September or October and doesn't get done until, into early winter, we could still have a spring referendum. So don't listen to Don Braid, and he's actually a journalist I respect a lot. He's a veteran in the industry and smart, but he's been getting sad lately. I mean, he's like a lot of the legacy media. They just have a hate on for Smith or anything independence related. And he's just dancing the dance of joy. Look at this, Lukaszuk found the loophole. He stopped the movement. No, he hasn't. And he's just, it makes me think almost like the people who've been using the elections to put, 100 names on a ballot to cause a distraction. You're using the system, kind of abusing the system, but it doesn't stop the actual race. I mean, people would probably have lost his seat, but it really didn't have anything to do with those idiots, putting 100 names on the ballot. That was just an annoyance. But the reasons he lost his seat were a lot deeper than that. So nothing Thomas Lukaszuk is doing is going to stop the referendum. He's just, at best, going to delay it. And let's say somehow the unions got behind him and he got people on the ground getting signatures. And again, I'm talking about a real petition. I've said that in past videos. A good petitioner working an 8-hour day will get 100 signatures. Now, if you're at a table in a crowded area, an event, a rodeo, a shopping mall, or something like that, you could do a little higher than that. But if you're going door to door, because that's what it's going to take, door to door, a good person in an 8-hour day will get about 100 signatures. You can't compare this to digital signatures. It's not the same. So you need hundreds, if not thousands of volunteers to be pounding the pavement to get this done. And the independence movement has those people. They've been organizing those people. They're getting ready to roll. Lukaszuk has nothing. He has press releases and noise. There's nothing behind him. It's fluff. So how he's going to get the gears turning fast enough to get 300,000 signatures in 3 months, guys, it's not going to happen. Well, let's say, again, it happened. Let's say it got in, it got accepted, and a referendum's held. Well, that'd be unfortunate. That's to say the least. But then we're kind of voting on a referendum, a poll. But if the vote's strong enough for no, has he stopped anything? Is it helping? I mean, he stopped it from being an official Clarity Act question. But that is, again, where some of the chronic malcontents I've talked about, the ones that don't trust or don't believe the UCP will help support at least the democratic means. Well, the UCP is juggling. The referendum is the release valve for the independence movement, for the pressure. It keeps the UCP from going full out into the independence movement. And some people think they should. I don't. I understand a number of their MLAs are independence supporters. I don't expect them to come out. I don't expect Smith to come out and say she is, as long as they give us the mechanisms. But they also know if you don't give the independence movement something to work towards, you don't give them the mechanism, don't give them the means, don't allow the referendum to be functional, then it will turn to partisan efforts. Then people will get on the UCP's case and say, okay, you've either got to fix this legislation or call the referendum yourself, or there is going to be another party coming up and it will have support. All that organizational effort getting ready for a referendum, that could be turned into constituency associations overnight. That could turn into a formidable political party overnight if independent supporters suddenly believe that actually the UCP will stop them from having the right to hold a referendum, which I don't think they will. But hey, I've been wrong before. So we do always have to keep an eye on the politicians. But right now, we have legislation. It's new. Legacy media is jumping for joy because Lukaszuk pulled what he thinks is a coup. I don't think it is. I know it's got some people stressed out and worried about things, though. Don't stress it. Again, be patient. We're on the right track. These meetings, these festivals, this organization, the people signing up, guys, we're getting there. And the opponents are going to pull their stupid little tricks, but we'll beat them. Don't sweat it. But I'll do another video soon. I mean, once I clarify more on what the deal is with the legislation and what's going to happen with it. And there'll be other videos, of course, again, as we just keep building ourselves to be better independence advocates and keep spreading that word and building it, because we're going to get that referendum eventually, one way or another. One more time, the Sovereigntist Handbook. Thanks to everybody who grabbed a whole whack of copies of these off of me over at Albertans Day at Chris Scott's place. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the read. A lot of people brought books over for me to sign that they bought earlier. I'm happy to do that. I'm flattered that they want my signature and that they took the time to read it. And if you're looking for kind of an instructional approach to becoming an independence advocate, that's what's packed into that book. So thanks for tuning in. Send me feedback on this one. You know, like I said, I'm a little confused on the interpretation of where it's going to go on this legislation too. Once I get more time to dig into it, I'll sort it out. But what I do want to tell folks is don't panic, don't sweat it. He can't beat us. He won't.